Well, I've been thinking about this a lot. I want you to get another partner.
Ralph, this isn't the time or place.
Why not? Yes or no? What's so hard about that?
What's hard is you're being a bully, and I don't like it.
And I don't like feeling like I'm losing my wife to another man.
You're not.
Then prove it. Get another partner.
Why is that the only way she can prove it? She really doesn't want to talk about it, mainly because it's obvious he's not listening.
Are you saying that your partner's more important to you than your husband is?
I'm saying I shouldn't have to choose.
Vicky, if you don't break up with Andy Campo, this marriage won't survive.
I'm not sure how he got from it's Andy's fault she got shot to she's sleeping with Andy. I think he's using a warped version of Batman logic. She goes into the locker room, furious and cursing men.
You got a right to feel that way. That's why we ask the Lord every day. Why can't a man be more like a woman?
Valid question. Turns out after that burning cross fiasco, the cops protecting Donnie Potts and his family are taking the task a little more seriously.
We've come to speak with the people who live here, not with you.
What's the matter? You don't understand English?
You have a right to knock on this man's door?
No, you don't.
Why?
Because you're interfering with police business, my friend.
Police business? When police business includes protecting black people, we'll worry about interfering.
We three clones of Orient are. Donnie comes out and says, let me talk to these guys.
What do you guys want?
We want to offer you and your family protection.
That's what those men are for.
No white racist police department is going to look out for you, brother.
Of course not. That's why they hired him, right?
Sir, as of right now, I am a member of that department. I will thank you to remember that and to not make my position any more difficult than it already is.
Just know that your security is not uppermost in their minds.
Which one of you is Shemp?
No disrespect, brother, but it's not uppermost in yours either. And I'm not interested in being a political symbol for anybody.
Scratch one PR blitz. He's not having it. If what they say is true, why aren't they down on Skid Row protecting the single mothers and the homeless? I think the answer is obvious. You can't really rock a bow tie down there without getting laughed at, or mugged, or both. Chief Kendrick has been watching jury selection for Vincent Larusso's trial, and the press wants to know what he thinks of this whole thing.
Vincent Larusso's already been judged by the same collection of misfits that can always be counted on to squawk the loudest.
Who are you referring to, Chief?
Who am I referring to? I'm referring to the rich West Side leftists, Negro con merchants. I'm referring to the whole miserable entertainment industry that this city bends over backwards for, even though from what I can tell it's made up mostly of drug addicts, crybabies, and homosexuals who are intent on tearing down all our traditional American values.
That was impressive. He managed to insult at least 4, maybe 5 different groups in a single paragraph. And he's not done.
I'm just glad Larusso got himself the lawyer that he did. The fact is, he needs all the help he can get. And say what you will, Sidney White's is one smart Jew.
Okay, I think that's everybody. He can go now. Elsewhere, we have a genuine American tragedy.
4 guys, dark-colored vehicles, no bake. A bunch of bangers came around the corner this way. Guys in the vehicle opened fire. Little boy was riding by on his bike when he got shot. His name's Matthew Finney. 6 years old.
That's right, the drive-by shooting. We are so gun-happy in this country, anybody can get one and do this to an innocent child. And the people standing around are so cowed by the gangs that nobody saw a thing, at least not that they'll tell the police. The child's mother sings a heart-wrenching song that I won't play here. Why? Because I don't have permission to play the whole thing, and only playing part of it would be a disservice to the song. In a previous episode, I subtly mentioned a on this site that can help with that. Look it up and listen to this one. Have a few of these handy. Gaines and Rose are the first officers on the scene, but they don't really have anything to do. Some guy who looks like a Mike Ditka wannabe appears to be the detective in charge, but he doesn't do much of anything either. In fact, he doesn't do anything.
Hey, look, don't tell me to back off. Half the people out on that street haven't been talked to yet.
What, are you playing detective now?
Look, in case you're interested, I got a partial license plate. Here's a list of the possible vehicles you might want to be looking for.
He did not like that. A patrol cop showing him up in detective work is a little embarrassing. Except it's not the patrol cop part that's got him angry.
Some party you got yourself, kid.
Oh, yeah, Franklin, man. He's the greatest.
Let me talk to you for a second.
Sure. Well, what is it?
I want you to know that I'm the last person in the world to judge somebody by his car.
But I'm going to do just that right now. Whenever someone says, I'm not racist, but they're talking out of their butt. He is going to sing the most racist song I have heard in a long time, and I can't bring myself to play any of it. This song is so offensive, I can't believe even Stephen Bochco got it on the air. Neither can Gaines.
You know what I think?
What's that?
I think you're a real jerk.
Ultimately, Miller will go to Hollander and complain that a colored guy, his term, is trying to show him up. Pan across the room to where Andy is still trying to make peace with Ralph.
Ralph? Stay away from me, kid. Hey, look, I've been thinking. We're all grown-ups. There's got to be a way for us to resolve our problem.
There is.
I thought that went rather well. Ralph's too drunk to hit very hard, so no harm done. Donnie Potts is consulting a lawyer. He sat down for a practice session with Sidney and Trish and realized he's way over his head.
Wise up, my friend. When a black cop testifies against a white cop, no matter what happens to the white cop, the black cop gets treated like a nigger.
Well, that's certainly helpful. If you testify, you lose no matter what. He goes to Hollander and rescinds his testimony. Hollander keeps saying, what about the truth? I didn't grow up the way Donnie did, whatever that may have been, and I sure never had anybody burn a cross on my lawn. When somebody pins a death threat to your front door, the truth isn't the uppermost thing in your mind. The captain has no idea what that feels like, so he's really not in a position to judge Donnie. He will anyway, but he's not really in a position to. And that's not the end of his bad day. His son has a piano recital at 7. He just got there.
He already played. He missed it.
There's your truth, Captain. You let your son down. Again. You promised him you'd be there, but for him it's just one of dozens of promises you've broken. That's the truth, and it's staring him in the face. What'll he do with it? Basically, he says I'm sorry and expects that to make it all better. Janie doesn't think so.
It was a 2-minute piano recital. I'm sorry I missed it. But it wasn't a felony.
Oh, and if it's not a felony, I guess you don't have time for it.
I'm saying the boy will survive.
Yes, he'll survive. He'll survive thinking that in the great big world his father lives in, he comes last.
She says whenever things get piled up, stuff with the family, and especially with your son, is the first thing that gets forgotten. And she's had enough.
Don't make promises to him that you're not going to keep. And don't make this family come second John, because I will not live with it. I will not live with it.
I'm getting a glass of milk.
I don't care what you do.
He still doesn't get it. He's got a billion excuses and talk is cheap. He can protest all he wants, but she's right. He says they come first, but what he does tells her differently. He shouldn't even have been in the office by the time Miller came in spouting his racist garbage. That morning he assured her he had written it down, and he probably did. He just never got around to looking at it. When my kids were little, I was very much an academic. You almost never saw me without a pile of books around me and my nose in one of them. But I knew I had the potential to be exactly like this, so I swore to myself that if I had my nose in a book and one of my kids wanted something, the book got put down and the kid got my absolute attention. I didn't always succeed, but based on what they tell me now, they always knew I was trying, and they always knew they were the most important thing. I really hope John can come to his senses and start forcing a little balance onto his life, both for his sake and for David's. Unfortunately, the series ended before we got to see much more. And the fact that I'm sitting here offering all these hopes and encouragement to a fictional character gives you some idea how well scripted and acted the story is.
Sleep, little boy, your heart runs free, save a place.
That's right. 5 years ago, Janie gave birth to a glass of milk. He sings a tender lullaby to his son, and as we listen, we realize he's going off by himself because he just took a hard look at his work-to-family ratio, and he doesn't like what he sees.
You know how hard it is sometimes to find your way back home.
We can only hope this is a turning point for him and that tomorrow he'll be handling a few things differently, like his time. As far as we know, we all get one turn on this planet. You're in the midst of your turn right now. Don't waste it. Figure out what's important and devote yourself to it today. My two priorities are serving Jesus Christ and my family. And some days it's not even necessarily in that order. You can do what you want to me, and I will not deny Jesus. Mess with my family, and you do well to call out to him yourself and give him your heart and soul, because everything else belongs to me.
Display California 1 Peter Charles Edward 379.
That's the car.
Adam 55 to Adam 33 on Simplex. What's your location?
They both know what he meant by that. It's the car that was used in the drive-by shooting that killed that child. Rosa's taking a personal interest in this. After a high-speed chase, they bring these guys in.
My mom's got a bigger gun than that, blood.
I'm not your blood.
You ain't bad enough to be his blood.
Oh, they bad like you? They blow away 6-year-old boys too? Is that what bad is? Huh?
I don't know nothing about no 6-year-old boy.
He doesn't even know that was who he hit. Worse, he doesn't care.
You make me sick.
Your man's losing it.
Who are you? Who and what are you? You're killing children, and you don't even know to be ashamed. Because you got nothing inside to be ashamed with. You're nothing. When you die, it's gonna be nothing dying, because nothing is what you are. You hear me?
Frank!
They throw these guys in the tank, and we get another song.
Gunshots in the hood. I'm packing my 9, and this kid was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He got shot. Nobody knows what for. On the streets, his money is gold. His dope is war.
We saw Miller there, and of course we know he'll blame genetics for this. But the real criminal is poverty. Systemic poverty that carries over from generation to generation, because those of us who are doing okay haven't gotten angry enough about it to pressure our governments into doing something meaningful for the people who are stuck in it. I'm talking about that mom who lost the little boy. You can bet she lives hand to mouth and is probably a single mother. I'm talking about the families down in Cajun country who live in a little shanty with no running water and their children wear tatters instead of clothes. I'm talking about Donald Duck and Winnie the Pooh who can't even afford pants. Sorry, I can't help myself. But until we really start addressing the poverty that pervades our country and the systems that we have in place that perpetuate that condition, we'll always have young men like this who feel they have no hope, so they band together to hang on to what little they have by any means they deem necessary. These guys are guilty, all right, and they need to be punished. But we're guilty of some crimes against them, too. And I have to show you one other part of this song.
I round up my homies from around the block.
Remember breakdancing? I remember reading about all the dippy white people who tried and threw their backs out or broke limbs. I knew better. I knew if I tried it, I'd be this guy. Another review that I read complained that the show was kind of racist. You had black people and Latino people rapping and white people singing. Thing is, most of the rap is done by gangsters like these. This part of the world is where rap originated and grew up. It's a distinct, new musical style created by people of color. I have yet to discern how having people of color perform a thing that people of color invented is racist.
So loaded tomorrow, I won't know what happened.
And we seem to have forgotten Bondi Curtis Hall and his doo-wop singers, the grieving mom who's singing to her dead child, Donnie's wife. The only racism in this show is the kind that's written into characters like Miller, and he gets dealt with ever so severely. We have a genuine cross-section of America in this show, including a boy who's as queer as a $3 bill and one smart Jew. I really hope whoever wrote those lines got a nice bonus for each of them. And the person who wrote that review is only seeing racism because they want to. I'm delighted to say it's not there. And I wish I could play you this whole song because this guy is one heck of a rapper. His name is Gerald Parrish, a.k.a. Erg7, and he has at least one album out. If you like rap, he's worth checking out.
Ralph, I hate this.
So do I.
Let's get some counseling. Please.
No.
Why not?
Because I'm not crazy. I'm not paranoid. I know there's something going on between you and Campo. I know it.
Yeah, there's something going on. They're responsible for each other's lives. He says, I'll go to counseling if you quit riding with him for now. In desperation, she agrees. The term midlife crisis has been around since 1965. I don't know how many people knew that. I didn't until I looked it up. Ralph needs to look it up because he's got it big and he's letting it destroy the best thing in his life. He's throwing her away in favor of this. Donnie Potts is at the bar watching his ex-partner work the evening news.
Shot in a beer.
I don't care what it takes. I want to clear my name. In other news, a tractor trailer loaded with discarded...
So you made up your mind?
Yeah.
Look, I know what you're going through. I know you've heard all the arguments pro and con. I also know that none of us have to suffer the consequences of what you do but you. Just say what you gotta say.
And here it comes. You gotta do the right thing even though it hurts, blah, blah, blah. He tells Donnie that it doesn't matter now whether he testifies or not. The other cops are not going to let him off the hook. They'll hate him either way, so he might as well tell the truth.
You go the other way now, and all that means is that you buckled under the pressure.
Which is exactly what you're asking him to do right now. Honestly, he is surrounded by self-serving hypocrites. The most honest person he's met since this happened is his lawyer, and he laid it out a lot more plainly than Osborne did.
Wise up, my friend. When a black cop testifies against a white cop, no matter what happens to the white cop, the black cop gets treated like a nigger.
Contrast that with this.
So it seems to me that as long as you are damned either way, you may as well tell the truth. Because if you don't, you'll never sleep a brave man sleep again.
Pretty words. Meaningless when someone is threatening your children.
What you want your kids to think about you when they're grown? Did you do what was easy? Or did you do what was right?
I want Donnie to get in his face and say, you think any of this is easy? I kind of liked Osborne until he started doing this stuff. That was when I realized he's just another politician. He couldn't care less about Donnie, Larusso, Tyrone Weeks, or the truth. He cares about the department's image. The Weeks shooting is a stain on that image, and all he cares about is finding the right stain remover. If that means he has to sacrifice Detective Potts, oh well. And if I could get sponsored by a stain remover, this would be a great place for a product placement.